as all these drivers look to get their race strategies and setups ready to go here ahead of the race. It is a dry race in Canada today, guys. It's going to be a lot of excitement with 20 drivers on the grid. What's going on, Ski Fu? Welcome to the stream, my friend. We are commentating ASN F1 PCL. It is round 7. Mikal in the chat. Up very, very early. So we have one red light to start the formation lap here in Canada. If you're just joining us, we are here at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal. Some idiot very, very far ahead here for the formation lap as all of these drivers look to get set and get their tires nice and warmed up ahead of the opening lap. Once again, for those just tuning in, a couple of things to note here in Canada. These drivers going to want to take it very, very easy into turns 1 and 2. Turns 3 and 4 can also be quite hairy on the opening lap, as well as drivers could invalidate, cut the grass like we saw Vettel have to do in the Grand Prix for the 2019 season. Of course, the 8-9 chicane, very easy to invalidate there as well. Drivers wanting to keep their braking points a little earlier for the turn 12 hairpin as well on the opening lap here in Canada. It is quite a DRS trained circuit with 3 zones for DRS in Canada. And of course, last but not least, one of the most difficult sequences here in Canada, the turn 13-14 Wall of Champions chicane, as we've seen it already claim one driver here in qualifying. That was Xavi on the first outlap of the session, crashing through into the Wall of Champions on those intermediate tires. So as these drivers come through now, we have some idiot in first. Once again, Brownie's going to be lining up next to him in P2. TJD in the Haas. David in the Renault on the second row. TechSlave in 5th. MJS in 6th. Travesty in 7th. Skybits is 8th. Odin is 9th. Tesmo is 10th. Smasha in 11th. JBS in 12th. Bois in 13th. Flyer 634. Big Boy Daniel in 15th, Kai Bacchini in 16th, Jelly Melly in 17th, and then 18th is that Grosjean boy, Xavi in 19th, and Cosmin in 20th. So, here we go. The grid getting ready to go now. 3 lights on, 4, 5, and it's lights out, and we're off here at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. Flyer taking a jump start here on the opening lap of the race. Moving into turn 1 now, trying to keep everything clean. We have a little bit of collision there. It looks like the Williams on the rear of that Alpha. So far, everybody keeping it fairly tidy through turns 1 and 2 here. Some idiot still in the lead of this race in that Racing Point. Brownie tight on his rear as we move through the first sector here in Canada. All of these drivers looking to keep things nice and tidy, letting the gaps form, not being too impatient here. Oh, and the Mercedes diving down the inside into the Sector 1 DRS detection zone chicane there. Oh, and there's a huge crash there. It's Jelly Melly out of this race here. Very, very, very unfortunate, as there's a ton of contact here in Sector 2. That Grosjean boy in the Mercedes also out of this race. Xavi takes a 5-second severe penalty. Very, 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 very interesting here as we have a VSC here on lap 1. You can see some idiot coming down the back straight in Sector 3 now. That was a very scary crash there for the Renault driver. We saw him leave the circuit into the air. VSC, very surprising not to see a full safety car on that one, but it is only the VSC here moving through the 13-14 chicane. A lot of different tire strategies here. You see JBS there in the Toro Rosso jumping into the pits, as well as Xavi and his teammate Tesmo. Flyer 634, he had a jump start here. We'll see if Flyer is actually able to serve that drive-through here under VSC. And it looks like he is able to drive through and get that penalty served here. Moving into lap 2 now, we still have some idiot and Brownie in the lead of this race. David and TJD still maintaining their starting positions. Actually, TJD and David have swapped. Tech Slave and MJS still in P5 and 6 respectively. Skybits has moved up a place. Travesty back a place now as we jump back to see some of the wheel-to-wheel action here. MJS on the rear of Tech Slave here on lap 2. DRS is going to be enabled. Flyer having entered the pits just at the end of that VSC, so he was able to serve out that drive-through penalty, of course. Now, looks like we have a bit of a battle between Travesty and Smashy here as they cross the start-finish line into turn 1. A lot of tight gaps at the moment here in the opening phase of the race. DRS is now enabled for these drivers here. Canada, the DRS is very, very strong on this circuit. Skybits very, very close on the rear of MJS. A little bit of a slip at the rear from the McLaren there. Skybits having to get on the brakes a little earlier than he wanted to. He loses a little bit of time there, giving way to the McLaren driver, allowing him to get things back under control on circuit as they close that rear wing coming out of the DRS zone. Ooh, a lot of wall there for the McLaren. Very nice from Skybits, though, to keep it clean, not tapping the rear. Moving into the hairpin. This is currently the closest battle we have on the grid, so we're going to watch this unfold in a second. Smasha trying to catch up to the Red Bull as the DRS train is slowly forming. Some idiot crossing the line with the fastest lap of the race, but David comes across faster with a 112.127. Going to go on board with Travesty as he has a front row seat to all of this action right now for the battle for P6 through the 3-4 chicane now. Into the 5-6. DRS going to be open for all of these drivers, with the exception of MJS. He's not going to have the DRS. That could prove very, very good for Skybits and the Red Bull. Smasha keeping things close in the Ferrari as well. Kai Bacchini in 10th is catching up as well. MJS is falling behind Tech Slave. Skybits being very patient, moving through the Wall of Champions chicane here. DRS on the McLaren moving down into turn 1 as he crosses the start-finish line. We are now on lap 5 here. Brownie keeping it tight to the rear of some idiot here. As you can see, they're still fighting for that race leadership position. MJS takes a 3-second time penalty after multiple warnings. Looks like that 3-4 chicane caught him out a little bit. We did mention at the start of the race that's going to cause quite a few warnings and possibly penalties if drivers don't keep it under control moving through that turn. Mikhail in the chat making an interesting observation here. The DRS is very, very powerful in Canada, so if you fall behind that DRS train, you're going to lose quite a little bit of time, and it's going to be very, very difficult for you to catch up. In the train, a lot of these drivers able to save energy and fuel due to the power that the DRS holds for these cars, unlocking 5, 6 tenths depending on the zone. Skybits, unfortunately, cutting that second curbing through the Wall of Champions chicane. That's going to affect his race time, but of course, MJ is also having a penalty at the moment. Kai Bacchini very, very close as he has actually taken a position on Travesty. My apologies for missing that here on the broadcast, but Kai Bacchini moving down into turns 3 and 4. Ooh, he almost taps the rear of the Ferrari there. Very, very close. But he is in a fighting mode as he thought about going down the inside of turn 5. Decides against it. Ooh, a little bit of a slide out of the rear there, but he does a good job of keeping it under control. Smasha with the DRS looking to make him move into the 8-9 chicane. Ooh, and he does. Very nice move around the inside on Skybits there. Skybits going a little wider than he wanted to coming out of that chicane. Now Kai Bicini takes a position on him as well. Losing a lot of time there is the Red Bull of Skybits. Kai Bicini now looks to charge ahead here on the Sector 3 back straight. MJ's not having the speed without that DRS now as Smasha looks to move ahead down into the wall of champion chicane. MJS cutting the curbing there. Smasha now up into P6, but Kai Bicini around the inside. We are 3 wide here. Travesty has a nice view there from the back end. Ooh, MJ's earliest on the brakes there. A little bit of contact from the Mercedes of Kai Bicini on the side of that Ferrari. MJ's a front row seat on this action as we move through the 3-4 chicane now. Ooh. MJ taking another 3-second time penalty here. That's not good for the McLaren. Kai Bicini very, very tight on the rear of this Ferrari. Ooh. And unfortunately, I missed the overtake from Brownie on some idiot. And as I jumped, it looks like Smasha and Kai Bicini are still battling out here. Brownie having moved up a second. He's almost out of the DRS. Take a look at these cars as we'll see if they have any damage. It doesn't look like they do. He's still going to have that DRS moving down into turn 1. Very, very important here, but we're going to stay on board. Ooh, Kai Bicini and Smasha still battling it out here. I'll have to keep a closer eye on the front of the grid. Ooh, and there's Kai Bicini into the rear of the Ferrari, into the wall. Ooh, very unfortunate for Kai Bicini as Travesty wins out that one. He's up into P6 now. Smasha looking to regain that 6th position. Kai Bicini is going to have a lot of damage on the front end of that Mercedes. He's going to more than likely have to pit here. No safety car VSC after the crash in turn 2, though. David passing some idiot into the hairpin. Some idiot. Looks like he's had a crash out here for his game client. As he looks to get back into his car quickly here. He's lost a position and he's losing a large amount of time here. Tech Slave looking to capitalize maybe out of the hairpin. David currently 4.5 seconds back of the race leader after we saw quite a nice opening lap here. Kai Bicini has retired out of the session here and we have a VSC. Kai Bicini just heading into or exiting that Sector 3 chicane or Sector 2 chicane. You can see on Zavi's onboard there, he ran into the wall. So he's out of the race here with that VSC slowing all drivers down. TJD, MJS, Smasha, and Blois all into the pits, switching over their tires and wings. VSC has ended. DRS is enabled once again. A lot of pit stops coming through here as Travesty currently looking to take position 4 away from the Alfa Romeo of Tech Slave. He is going to have DRS on the Alfa moving through Sector 2 now. Heading into the 8-9 chicane. Grosjean boy out of the session as well. So a very unfortunate race finish here for the Mercedes team. Not too sure what happened with Grosjean, as I don't have a view of his car on the circuit map at the moment. Brownie still in lead of this race. Smasha and Blois having a fight through the 8-9 chicane now. Blois on the medium, Smasha on the fresh softs. We'll see if Blois is able to hold on with the DRS here. I've got to stop reading the chat because I'm missing things on circuit here. Ooh, Big Boy Daniel has to be very careful on that curbing here. He is going to have DRS through Sector 2, though, to gain some time on the Ferrari ahead of him. But he's going to have to work very hard to maintain that, as Flyer is currently 1.2 up on him. See if he's able to maintain that DRS. I don't think he is, moving down into the turn 10 hairpin. Everybody over a second apart, with the exception of the Williams of Travesty, as he's going to look to try and make a move on TechSlave here soonish. Lap 11 now for these guys, moving through that Sector 1 chicane. Very neat and tidy for the Williams through Sector 1. Now into Sector 2, he is the DRS into the 8-9 chicane. Important to note here, TechSlave and Travesty on the same tire life for their mediums. Travesty looking a lot quicker right now in that Williams. He is going to have the DRS as we bump through turn 12. Moving down the Sector 3 back straight. Into the Wall of Champions now. He looks for a move down the inside, thinks better of it. Keeps nice and tight to the rear of that Alfa Romeo. Skybits is gaining on the Ferrari of Smasha. He's currently within a second of him. Travesty down the inside of the Alfa. Ooh, a little bit of touch there from the Williams and the Alfa on the front right and front left tires. He's unable to make the move ahead here. TechSlave having the better line through that turn. But he is going to have plenty of opportunity to strike here, as we are only a third of the way through the race. Not much doing here in Canada so far. Really, the only battle to watch is Travesty. Some idiot, though, is catching up to the Renault of David. As Travesty begins to fall back on the Alpha. We'll see if the DRS is able to catch him up a bit. We're going to jump on over to Some Idiot here down the pit straight. He has DRS on the Renault. The Renault, unfortunately, doesn't. Makes a move down the inside, through into turn 1 now. A lot of inside curb there for the Racing Point, and he's made that move very, very clean through into lap 13 now for him. David now dropping back significantly. We'll see if he's able to stick within DRS to maybe make a switch back here. David, though, takes a 3-second time penalty in the 3-4 chicane. Travesty still on the rear of TechSlave here the past few laps. It looks like Xavi has had an overtake on Big Boy Daniel. He's looking to catch up on the Ferrari of Flyer. We'll jump on over to that action in just a second here. Whoa, very, very fast from the Red Bull. I did not see the overtake happening that quick, as we're going to head on over back to Travesty. And he jumps ahead of TechSlave through the 8-9 chicane. And look at the speed on that Williams coming through that chicane. He had a fantastic exit, as he's already a second up on the Alpha moving into the hairpin here. We'll see if TechSlave was able to maintain DRS position. And he was. Very, very nice from him. A lot of drivers getting overtake. It's Flyer. That is why we're seeing overtakes on the Ferrari. He is not currently in session. His car is ghosted. David still within a second of Some Idiot now on lap 14, moving through the 3-4 chicane. Travesty and TechSlave into the pits now, opting to change on over those tires. They're jumping onto the medium, so... Or is it the softs? I'm confused. Smasha up into P6 as he passed the drivers in the pits. Skybits into 7th, Bois into 8th. So TechSlave onto the hard compound tires. Very possible he'll be looking to finish the race on those. Travesty onto the mediums. Might be a little early for the hard switch. Tire degradation in Canada can be very extreme, but we are overcast here. So the the track temperature not as hot as we have seen in the past. Bois within a second of Skybits on the fresher mediums. He'll be looking to jump into DRS range soon, hopefully. Tech Slave very close to him within a second. Big Boy Daniel and Odin having a battle as Big Boy comes out of the pits here, moving down into the 3-4 chicane. Brownie into the pits, David into the pits. Brownie looking for that undercut. On Some Idiot. He did have quite a gap on Some Idiot due to Some Idiot crashing out his game. So that's unfortunate. We'll see what happens here once Some Idiot decides to pit. As you see Brownie jumping onto the mediums. Big Boy Daniel in the racing point with the DRS now, but it is Tech Slave looking to catch up on Skybits now. We'll jump on over to that. And right now, as we have Tech Slave looking to make a move down the inside. Being very patient, he jumps on the brakes, thinking better of it. He's going to have DRS here through Sector 2 now. Wow, very close to the rear of his teammate. All four of these drivers within 1 second of each other as the DRS train has been activated. Tech Slave looking very racy in that Alfa Romeo. We're going to jump on board with him as he looks to maybe make a move here on Skybits down into turn 1. Skybits has the outside line. Tech Slave, not enough of a gap between them, or too much of a gap between them, I should say, to make a move here. But he is very close on Skybits moving through turn 2 into the Sector 1 chicane here. Skybits, a little bit of grass on the rear tires there. JBS and Cosmine fighting through turns 1 and 2 here. Cosmine looking like he got the better of JBS as JBS is spun. He'll look to get things back under control. He's lost a massive chunk of time there. Tech Slave still hoping to jump on Skybits for that P7. Skybits on the 9-lap old mediums, Tech Slave on the hards. And it's Flyer in the Ferrari out of the session here. Brownie sets the fastest lap of the session so far, a 1:11.4. As Brownie has pitted and Some Idiot has just come out the pits and completed his first lap. You can see that the gap is only 5.8 seconds, so Some Idiot does have a little bit of a mountain climb to jump back into the lead of this race. David, 3.1 off of P2 at the moment. TJD in 4th. 5 seconds is the gap between him and the podium. Now, back to Skybits and Tech Slave. We saw an overtake there from Tech Slave. Unfortunately, I missed it watching a different battle on circuit. Tech Slave on the hards into P7. Skybits in P8 in the 10-lap old medium compound tires in that Red Bull. Travesty is catching up, though, in the Williams. We'll go on board with him through into Sector 2. Travesty takes a very unfortunate time penalty there, cutting the curbing. He does have the DRS on the Red Bull. Could we see a move here into the 8-9 chicane? Skybits holds his ground on the older tires. Travesty most definitely going to have the DRS on the Red Bull moving through into the Sector 3 back straights here. Turn 10 hairpin. Look at this Williams go. Down the inside of the Red Bull he goes with the DRS. That's going to be a very clean move from the Williams. No contact whatsoever. Skybits choosing his battles wisely here. As you can see, he is saving his energy. Bois into the pits on the 8-lap old mediums now. Could be in for a wing change. That's going to see Cosmine jump ahead. And quite possibly Big Boy Daniel as well, depending on how long the Alpha pit crew takes. MJ is on the 9-lap old mediums now, jumping within a second of TJD in 4th. We'll see if the McLaren's able to make a move here. Out of the 20 drivers that started this race in Montreal, we are down to 16 remaining. As you can see, the Toro Rossos of JBS and Tesmo have been lapped. JBS overtaking his teammate Tesmo there. It looks like both drivers currently, well, at the very least, JBS no longer with us in the session. MJ's very close to making a move there through the wall of champions. Looks like he had a little bit of contact with the wall. I apologize for switching the camera over. Moving down into turn one, he still has that DRS down that pit straight. Travesty with an overtake on Tech Slave through the wall of champions. Skybits has dropped back into 9th now, as MJ's is still very close to the rear of this Haas. We'll see if Tech Slave is able to stay on the rear of Travesty in that Williams. Tesmo and JBS and the Toro Rossos both jumping into the pits. Not good strategy there, as of course JBS having to wait for his teammate in the pits. MJ is sticking with the Haas of TJD, moving through the hairpin now. On to Sector 3 we go. The McLaren driver definitely going to have the DRS here. Hopefully he can make enough space up to have an overtake on the pit straight. Ooh, look at how close he is. He moves down the inside here into the wall of champions. A little bit of contact there, and there goes MJ's into the wall here at the wall of champions. Very unfortunate. He's going to jump into the pits to switch over that wing. He is on the 10-lap old mediums here. No yellow flag or safety car here after that crash. Smasha in the Ferrari is into the pits as well. Tech Slave jumps into 6th. Skybits on the 12-lap old mediums. He is in the pits as well, as he heads out. In just a moment here, getting that front wing changed over and a tire change. Smasha and MJs are going to exit in what they hope to be 7 and 8. But Cosmine on the 12-lap old hards, he's up into P7 now. P8, excuse me, as MJs flies out of the pits in front of him. Smash on the fresh medium is looking to make up some time on the Haas driver in front of him. The Haas driver going to be struggling on the 12-lap old hards in comparison to the fresh mediums. Not too much doing here on circuit at the moment. We'll have a look at how many stops we've seen so far. The top 6 drivers having only stopped once. MJ's with the 2-stop. Cosmine on the 1-stop. He has yet to pit off those hards. Smasha, Skybits, Bois, and Zavi all on the 2-stop as well. Big Boy Daniel and Odin on the 1-stop thus far. Tesmo and JBS 2 and 3 stops apiece. As we see an overtake from Smasha down the outside here on the back straight in Sector 3. Moving into the wall of champions. He has a very clean gap ahead of him. A little bit of a slip out of the rear of the Haas driver. As we move down into turn 1, we'll see if he's able to retake that P8 position. No DRS required. Neither of them having the DRS moving down into turns 1 and 2. A little bit too much curbing here for the Haas driver. He's going to fall back behind that Ferrari. Cosmine, having started at the back of the grid, though, something to note, he has moved up 11 positions so far here in this race, although he is more than likely going to have to pit again with 14 laps remaining here in the race. He is on the 13-lap old hard compound tires. A little bit of contact with the barrier there for the Haas. Can't see his front end plate right now. Looks like he kept the wing intact. Very lucky from him. Gap to leader right now. You can see the Toro Rosso of JBS has been lapped twice here so far. Tesmo and Odin have also been lapped. The gap between P13 and P1 at the moment is a 110.9, so he's very close to being lapped here. Fastest lap of this campaign thus far, 110.595 from the Racing Point of some idiot. Very quick on the mediums. Skybits on those fresher medium compound tires. He's looking to make up some space here into P9. He is very tight to the rear of this Haas moving through the 3-4 chicane. He is going to have DRS through Sector 2. But this Haas struggling here in Sector 1. We don't see him move from Skybits just yet. He's being very, very patient. Very important not to cut the curbing there. He is going to have the DRS coming through Sector 2 now. Trying to stick with the rear of that Haas. The Haas pulling over onto the inside. Skybits down the outside through the chicane there. Ooh, very, very tight here from the Haas and the Red Bull. Almost saw a little bit of contact there on the front tire of this Haas as Skybits jets through into the hairpin. Very wide and deep, though, is Cosmin able to come back here. Possible we're going to see DRS from Cosmin in the Haas. He is going to be able to catch up a little bit here to the Red Bull. Skybits a little bit of a swerve there to try and break slipstream, but it's not enough as Cosmin down the inside of Skybits through into the Wall of Champions chicane. He definitely cut the curbing there. Quite possibly he had only taken a warning for that, but he did in fact gain a very large chunk of time here on the Red Bull. There's a penalty for cutting the curbing there through turns 1 and 2. His car ghosting. And we see a disqualification from the Haas driver after too many penalties. Skybits comfortably up into 9th after that. Very unfortunate for Cosmin in the Haas. He'll be having to kick himself over that one, as we have quite a widespread circuit at the moment. Not too many battles happening at the time being. We'll jump on over to some idiot who has made up quite a large amount of time on the front runner, Rowney. Only 2.5 seconds separating him and the race leader at the moment. As you can see, Brownie gearing up here to lap once again another car here. It looks like a Red Bull. That's Xavi ahead of the Williams. Tech Slave taking a 3-second time penalty after multiple warnings. Penalties here in Canada, very, very common here, especially with the strict corner cutting that this league runs. Of course, a lot of chicanes here in Canada. A lot of areas where it is very easy to cut corners or exceed track limits, as we have Travesty looking to close the gap on TJD. Currently within 2 seconds, the closest gap on the grid so far. One thing I am happy to say, we have not had a safety car here yet in the session. A safety car would make this a very, very interesting race, as we have a lot of different tire compounds out on circuit right now. All drivers either on the hards or mediums. A lot of different drivers on different lap and tire lives for those tires as well. Xavi not having the race he wanted to have, as he takes a 3-second time penalty after multiple warnings. Travesty is absolutely flying in this Williams, though, as over the course of this lap, he's already made up a 1.5 seconds on the rear of that Haas. That Haas on the 16-lap-old medium compound tires. Could be very possible we see a pit stop from him here at the end of lap 26. It's Travesty moving down the inside into the Wall of Champions. Ooh, he wasn't too sure what TJD was going to do there. TJD diving into the pits here. Travesty, unfortunately, having to take a 3-second time penalty for cutting the curbing there through the Wall of Champions. He was very, very tight to the side of that Haas. Tech Slave, 4.8. Call it 5 off of P4 at the moment. MJ's moves up into P6, smash it into P7 as TJD's looking to come out of the pits on the softs. He's going to go the distance on those. The soft tire degradation here in Canada is extreme, though, so hopefully it pays off for him. Hopefully he's able to manage those tires well and keep them in a good condition heading into the end of the race. A lot of penalties here, and the race director will have to take a look at that at the end of the race. Please, someone remind me. Travesty could be very, very close to a disqualification here if he doesn't get those penalties under control. Looks like the top 5 drivers in this race are going to be able to finish the race on those compounds. I'm very, very happy that there hasn't been a full safety car here yet in the session, although I wouldn't mind seeing one, as it would definitely turn up the excitement level here, as all of these gaps have now been spaced out quite a bit. As you can see on our timing tower, not a single driver is within a second of another. Some idiot jumping into the pits now on the 11-lap-old softs. Could be possible he's moving in for a wing change as Brownie looks to escape, or if some idiot is expecting Brownie to pit again, could be going for quite the undercut here. As there's 7 laps remaining here in this race, Brownie on the 13-lap-old mediums, some idiot coming out of the pits around 25 seconds behind. A massive gap to make up here, but I am assuming Brownie is going to pit one more time here in this race. Some idiot is going to be very, very quick on those softs. I'm sure we'll see a fastest lap time set from him in just a moment. My good friend Mikau in the stream chat, my dear friend and race engineer, informing me that those mediums of Brownie are not going to make it till the end. And I'm inclined to agree. And there he is. There's Brownie moving into the pits now. So where is some idiot going to move ahead here, as he is now on sector 3, coming through into the DRS zone? No DRS for him, though. Brownie, here we go. Moving on to the soft compound tires. As he's coming out of the pits now, we have some idiot flying down the pit straight. And he passes Brownie in the pits. And here comes Brownie. Ooh, and he slides into the grass. He slides into the grass. The Williams, no. That was going to be such a tight battle between the Racing Point and the Williams. Now Brownie on the back foot, having to make up a massive chunk of time here with 6 laps to go. Very unfortunate from the Williams, as that was almost a perfect pit stop from the Williams squad, and he just wasn't able to get the proper braking moving down into turn 2. Cold tires, of course, as he slides it onto the grass. No, Brownie going to be kicking himself for that for sure. Some idiot is going to be quite happy, as he's now back into the lead of this race. What a mistake from Brownie there. He's got to be unhappy about that. Zavi in P11 into the pits now on the 11-lap-old hards. David, 14-lap-old hard tires now. He's in 3rd. He's been in 3rd for the majority of this race. He did line up next to TJD. Unfortunately, TJD has dropped back into the 8th position here, as Smasha currently gaining time on the Williams of Travesty. Travesty did pit for fresh softs, though. He is going to have those tires up to temperature here, and Smasha is on the 9-lap-old mediums. As you can see, some idiot at the front of the grid has moved up 5.2 on the former race leader Brownie. TJD is gaining on Smasha with those fresher soft compound tires. Travesty is going to be looking to overtake MJ's by the end of this race. Of course, guys, one thing to remember here, we've seen a lot of penalties come across from race control. It's going to be very, very interesting to see what kind of role those play come the end of the race. It's MJ's in the McLaren. He is off here as he tries to get things back under control in the McLaren. He loses positions to both TJD And I do believe Smasha, he drops back into 8th. Now Skybit's looking to capitalize as MJ's, I do believe, took a significant amount of wing damage there on his front right. And he did. He's missing an end plate in all of his wing. Very unfortunate for him. Skybit's looking to capitalize, perhaps making up some time on the McLaren driver. Fastest lap of the campaign so far is a 1:10.2 from some idiot. Skybit's taking a 3-second time penalty on the turn 14 curbing. Gap to leader now is P10 to P1 is 106. MJ is into the pits to change over that wing as he'll look to finish this race in P10. Xavi coming down the back straight now through into the Wall of Champions. He'll be looking to gain up some time on the McLaren, perhaps jump into the points in the Red Bull. Of course, penalties for all of these drivers going to be playing a role here. Smasha 2 seconds within the Williams of Travesty. Brownie in that Williams dropping back off the leader now. He's back to 5.8 seconds from the race lead. He's got to be kicking himself for losing out on that position when he came out of the pit stop. As Travesty into the pits now on the 3-lap old soft compound tires. Not too sure what he's thinking there. Could be in for a wing change here, as he might have had some kind of contact, and he is. They are going to be replacing the wing on that Williams as Tech Slave jumps into 4th. Now Smasha into 5th. TJD into 6th. Skybits has to be happy about that as he moves through into P7 in that Red Bull. On the 12-lap old mediums, he's going to be looking to finish the race on those. Bois jumps ahead of Travesty as well, but coming out of the pits now, Travesty retaking ahead of Bois. Bois currently 1.4 off of Travesty in that Williams. Travesty on the fresh softs, Bois on the 14-lap old hards. TJD in that Haas probably starting to feel the tire wear now on the 6-lap old softs as he comes around Sector 3 now looking to catch up on the Ferrari of Smasha. Ooh, a little bit of a slide there coming through the turn 13-14 chicane. The Wall of Champions looks like he grazed the wall a little bit, but not enough to cause any damage to the front wing of that Haas. You can see a little bit of loss of traction there from the rear of the Haas, as well as the tire wear is starting to come into play. But again, Smasha on the 13-lap old mediums, he's going to be feeling the tire wear as well. So TJD could be in a very good position to strike here as this race is about to move into the final lap. MJ's in the McLaren with a 1:10.148. He takes the fastest lap of the race. So he'll be looking to secure 2 points in that P10 at the moment. So we'll take a look at the position changes here as we move into the final lap of the race in just a moment. Some idiot, having started on pole, he is looking to finish the race with a win. Brownie starting next to him. He was in the race lead for quite some time due to a disconnect problem with some idiot, but he has now fallen back into his starting position in 2nd. David up a place here. He started 4th. He's now P3. Tech Slave started 5th. He's up into P4. Very nice for both of those drivers. Smasha had started in P11, as I do believe we just saw a little bit of debris fly off that Alfa Romeo there. Or excuse me, it was the Racing Point back marker of Big Boy Daniel that we just saw some debris fly off of. So he is struggling. Back to Smash though, in P5 from P11, TJD has dropped back from his 3rd place starting position. Skybit's up 1 from P8. Travesty back 1 from P7. Bois and MJ's having a battle here. It looks like we caught that at the perfect moment. They are wheel to wheel going down into the hairpin in just a moment. They're going to be going through the 8-9 chicane first, though. Bois going to be looking to catch up with him. He is definitely feeling the wear on those 16-lap-old hards, as MJ's has already pulled a second ahead of him. So we are on lap 35. It is the final lap here in Montreal for the Canadian Grand Prix here at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. Some idiot, having been quite far ahead of all of these drivers, has now finished the race. He has won here in Montreal. Brownie now crossing the final turn of this campaign. He will look to finish here in second. You can see David coming across behind him here. He will finish second as some idiot taking penalties. David finishing the race in second on 21-lap-old hards due to penalties from some idiot. Very, very fortunate for the Renault driver, Tech Slave. Will be looking to finish fourth in that Alfa Romeo as he comes down through the Wall of Champions now. Macau informing me of the timing bug due to the disconnect, so we'll have to see what happens here with the stewards post-race. But I do believe that is some idiot winning the race here in Montreal, as he is dropping down the grid massively here for no reason at all. The stewards and FIA for the ASN will have to have a look at that, but it was some idiot who did cross the line first here in Montreal. What a race here in Montreal. Very, very exciting. Couple of crashes in qualifying and, of course, in the race. Not surprised to see a couple of VSCs here throughout the race, but, of course, I was surprised not to see a full safety car. We'll jump into the race director in just a second here, as Brownie so far is holding the race lead here. No penalties from him. Very, very nice drive from him. David in second, Tech Slave in third, Smasha fourth, TJD fifth, sixth for Skybit, Some Idiot in seventh, Bois in eighth. Travesty in 9th, Zavi in 10th, MJ's in 11th, Odin in 12th, Big Boy Daniel in 13th, Tesmo in 14th, 15th for JBS, 16th for Kaibachini, 17th for Flyer, 18th for that Grosjean boy, Gelmel in 19th, and 20th for Cosmine, having been disqualified. Gelmel, Grosjean, Flyer, and Kaibachini all unable to finish the race here. Now, these standings are going to be adjusted due to an issue we saw with the bug with some idiot. Checking out the race director here. A lot of penalties as we move down here. We see a ton of penalties here, 5-second penalties across the board. A lot of collisions through the first lap of the race. A lot of warnings. It is a very, very, very long list of penalties here. 3 seconds, 5 seconds, 3 seconds, 5 seconds. Tons of penalties here. And then, of course, we had a DSQ for too many penalties here for, I do believe it was Cosmine. And it was. So he did receive too many penalties. Look at some of the stoppage strategies here for these guys. We have Travesty on 4 stops, Zavi on 4 stops, MJ's on 4 stops, JBS in that Toro Rosso with 5 stops, soft, medium, medium, hard, soft, using all of the tires at his disposal.